He wants to help get you seen farther. The show is called Page at Pollard.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff Pollard at Jeff Pollard 11 on Instagram. We have another great episode with another great guest. Thank you for having a chat with me. Who are you? What are you about?
Hey, I'm Kristine Schomaker. I'm a multidisciplinary artist, an artist mentor. I'm a publisher of an art magazine. I'm an independent, strong woman. I'm all about everything.
Okay, you're all about everything. Where did it start then, huh? Can you tell us about where we're at?
Yeah, we're in my space at the Brewery Artist Complex in Los Angeles. Okay. I've lived here about 13 years, and this is my studio. My office is right there. My bed's right there. I live and work here. It's my sanctuary. It's my home, and I can't imagine living anywhere else.
Now, you said it's also your place of business. Can you name drop and tell us what that's about?
Yeah, I run Shoebox Arts, which is an artist mentor company. It's an artist support network. So we do art business classes. I work with artists one-on-one, helping them, giving them ideas, helping them curate exhibitions, offering them advice on artist statements and websites and social media and anything that they need. Self-confidence,
Very cool.
Which is a huge thing.
And how did that come to be? Like, how did you create something of that? I mean, how does it come from like drawing to like now I'm gonna create a networking?
Yeah, that's a really good question because I used to work in the medical field. So
180.
Totally. It was a stable job.
Sure.
I had medical insurance. I worked in an emergency room until 2014, I think. But I went to grad school. I got my degrees in art history and studio art. Okay. And so, and I thought, I would teach, that I'd teach art histories because I didn't want to be a starving artist. But, things don't work out exactly as you plan. And so I worked in the medical field while I was finishing school. And then, they were changing my hours. I used to work in the emergency room, and I used to work 3 days a week, 12 hours a day, which was perfect because I could do art the other 4 days and, go to openings and things like that. And then they were switching me to graveyards where I would have had to work like 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. 5 days a week. And I'm like, I'm not a night person, first of all. Ooh. I wouldn't be able to go to art openings all the time. Yeah. And it's like, I wouldn't have a life.
Yeah.
And so I had already started Shoebox by that time. And to get back to your original question, how that came about is I had a solo show at Los Angeles Art Association in 2012. And I didn't do any PR for it. I didn't know what to do. Sure. I was so busy getting ready for the show. And it was a big show. It involved virtual reality and a dinner party performance, turning the gallery into a 1920s dining room a la Gertrude Stein.
Hard.
It was so cool. And I barely put it out there. Facebook was still fairly new. Okay. So, I posted it on social media and we did have a good crowd. But after that, I'm like, okay, I need to know what it means to be an artist. The behind the scenes, what I need to do to get out there, how I can get more people in front of my work. Yeah. So I started taking classes and workshops and reading all the business of art books and all of that. And a friend of mine was also taking those classes and he was having a solo show. And so I think he came to my birthday party or something and he was talking about hiring somebody to do PR. And I'm thinking, oh, way to make extra money. Well, you can hire me. And so he called me up a week later and he's like, well, what do you think? And we talked, and within a week I had the name of my company, I had my website, social media up, and that was 11 years ago.
How did the name Shoebox come to be?
Well, my last name's Shoemaker.
Okay.
And so my parents in the 70s were in a van club, and their CB handle was Shoebox. Oh. So I took it from that.
Oh, well, awesome.
Yeah.
There's history to that one.
Exactly.
Are you currently trying to evolve this, or is there an expansion you want to do?
Good question. The one thing, one of my assistant, she was my manager. We've talked about how Shoebox is like Frankenstein. I pull things from different, areas, and it always evolves with what artists need, with the changing art environment and the changing art world, and our art community, and the changing world in general. And so we started off doing PR. I started off helping artists get PR for their events. And then I realized, okay, what else do artists need? And as an artist myself, I'm like, okay, they need more than that, and I can help them with that. I'm a good, I've taught art history classes and art appreciation at like colleges, Antelope Valley College and Pasadena City College. I was a teaching assistant at Cal State Northridge. So I have that experience. I was also the president of the Painting Guild and the Art History Student Association at Cal State Northridge. So I have like that leadership, administration, side of me. And so that helped me kind of start a business. Plus my dad used to run a business. He ran a Corvette performance shop. My grandma ran a real estate business. So I think I have that background.
So entrepreneurship's in your blood.
Exactly, exactly. So I'm like, okay, I could do this. And so and one thing I have accepted about myself, especially recently, is change is the only constant. We can't stay the same. And so I started off doing PR, and then I started off and then it evolved into more support for artists.
Yeah.
So which goes from everything to, I hate to use the word therapy because I'm not a therapist, but, I talk to my artists about rejection. And I talk to, anything like that, and we talk about, I'm not good enough, or, we critique art. I give them ideas. So it's evolved from that. And it continues to also be PR and marketing.
Yeah.
And then, and we also, I curate events and try and get exhibition opportunities for my artists, and kind of like, a hub for my artists of, everything that they need.
Good. Awesome.
Yeah.
I do want to take the opportunity to say for all those fresh ears out there that rejection is so important to actually have done to you. You will grow so much from it.
Yes.
It will make you thicker skin. You'll learn how to adapt to it, how to fight it, and then how to overcome it to where you succeed and all that. So I just wanted to take that opportunity that rejection will always happen in so many different ways. Now, if you're an artist, do you cover all platforms? So if I'm somebody that does sculpting, photography, painting, drawing, do you hit it all?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I don't necessarily do music. I mean, so I don't have the experience of being a musician.
Okay.
So I go where my experience takes me.
Sure.
But, but that includes digital art. I'm also not into AI. So
sure.
Putting that out there. But I understand it's a tool that artists are using. Just like painting, just like photography. It's just not my thing. So, but also I know a lot of video artists. I'm also not, I don't have experience with, like publicity for film and television.
Okay.
But I am kind of getting a little more into art books and catalogs. So I've had a couple of my artists who have kind of, blurred the line or crossed the line.
Yeah.
So I've been learning about that too.
You mean like you could help with getting their content into book form, or what does that mean?
Both. I offer tips and advice on,
Okay.
I know people who make art catalogs.
Okay.
So one of my artists that I recently worked with, she created a graphic novel.
Oh, very
And
cool.
so, yeah, it's very cool. It's on like immigration and refugees, and so she shopped it around, and she found a publisher who is helping her. And, and that's hard. And it's just, in fact, like talking about rejection.
Yeah.
I recommend this article to my artists. It's like aim for 100 rejections a year. And it was originally written for writers, because writers, oh my gosh, like writers get rejection more than artists do.
Okay.
Submitting their writing to publishers all the time, or to magazines, but if you aim for 100, it's like you'll actually get more than you realize.
Yeah.
But it definitely helps build a thick skin and, all that
Yeah.
stuff. But, it's not too much different because you're looking for a publisher to help you get your work out there.
Yeah.
Just like, artists are looking for a champion, a patron, a gallerist, or a curator,
Yeah.
in the same way.
Okay.
In the same way also, artists and, authors, we're also learning to do it ourselves.
Sure.
There's self-publishing out there.
Yep.
We are creating our own exhibitions. We're selling our work online, on our own.
Yeah.
We're doing what we can. And so artists, and writers, and we're all becoming the gatekeepers.
Okay.
It does help to have somebody on your side, a champion, a cheerleader, but artists are entrepreneurs.
Sure.
Well,
the last few questions. Now, if I were an artist, new, just heard about you through here, somewhere else, how do I get started? Can you quickly walk me through kind of those steps? Do I see your website? What's the best way to reach you? And what is the steps?
Yeah. Yeah. My website, it explains what we do.
Okay.
I have a membership program where we have community.
Okay.
We get together on Zoom like 3 or 4 times a week. It's almost like an MFA program in a way.
Okay.
It's like, but it's less expensive. I'll say that. But being an artist, I mean, yes, you could definitely start with me. And I feel like I'm a good introduction into the art community, the art world, especially the LA art community. But I just worked with an artist in Newfoundland,
Nice.
So yeah, and an artist in France, and so, which is really cool. But if you're an artist just getting out there and starting, go to openings, show up, become a part of a community. I mean, yes, there's social media, but it's like social media is hit or miss because you don't have control.
Okay.
You don't, it's like because of the algorithms, because of all of that, you don't have control. So if you go in person to art openings, go to galleries that you feel that you have a vibe with, that you like their community, that you like the people there. Check it out, and you'll find the more different galleries you go to, the more, you'll find your audience, your community, where you fit in, and you just keep going back, and people get to know you. And I mean, I've gotten shows from that, just from showing up and talking to people, sharing my art, inviting people for studio visits. That's how you start. And then you follow each other on social media, and then that helps. Submitting your work to shows, anything like that.
And so when they sign up for the membership, they get your guidance, and what are a few other things they can kind of get?
Yeah, so our Zoom calls, we do office hours, which is like an open forum Q&A. So my artists get together, and there's normally 10 to 15 of us at one time. We talk about like what's going on. It could be rejection one day, like, everybody submitted to a show and nobody got in, so we all talk about that, what that means, how it worked. We could talk about other events coming up. Should you apply for that? We could talk about, if somebody's struggling with social media, with, whether it is like time, how do I find the time, or even time to get in the studio. We talk about self-confidence and, I'm not good enough, and, comparing yourself to other artists, and, it could be anything, any questions my artists have.
Okay, and then, because you guys are a group, you'd be able to guide them to other things like, I need a studio to work on my ceramics.
Yes.
So ovens and places like that. Okay, so it's a great tool to figure out what you are and then how to implement it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I feel like I personally, and also Shoebox is a resource hub. I'm good at research. I mean, I've been since grad school. I learned through art history, going to the library and, finding primary sources and, researching. And I'm good about it's so funny. We were talking about like the analytical mind and stuff. I am good about bringing information together and sharing it, because I get a lot of it. When the fires happened, I saw friends sharing stuff from all over, and I brought it together and put it in one place, and it's on the website under features. And these are resources from grants to places to get food, to places to get art supplies, to, anything you could think of. Artist GoFundMe. There were tons of artists. I know at least 100 artists that lost everything. Oh. It's, in the fires. So it's, it was crazy. But I'm good at that. And it's like, I've always felt that we need to like go where we're good. Go with what we can do. And I also recommend outsourcing, because there's some things I'm not good at. Yeah. And so, I'm like, like my friend who's an art installer, I use him all the time, or my friend who creates catalogs, or, it's like outsource when you can, but, go with where you're good. And I'm good about bringing information. I'm good about ideas and facilitating connections. Okay. And so I try to, share that with my artists.
Okay. Yeah. If you want your circle to start from there to there, man.
Yeah.
Final question. And this is the random one. If you could make the world a little better place, a little less stressful, it could be anything. Just your wisdom. What is it?
Live in the moment. Okay. That is a huge one. I am learning, especially with my own art, to live in the present. I'm getting rid of the past. I'm like not living in the past. I believe in just for today. Like, we have to live one day at a time, one step at a time. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. Yeah. And so, and I do suffer from anxiety and depression, and it's like an anxiety is worrying about the future. And, a fear of the future. Depression is like, worrying about the past. Yeah. And so it's like, I'm tired of that. I'm like, I'm here today. I'm here now. What can I do? How can I be present? Yeah. And so I feel like, if we can do that, of course, there's a lot more in terms of being kind, to each other and stuff like that. But I think like the thing off the top of my head is just being present.
Okay. I love it. No, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you for the chat.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Take care, everybody.